World Malaria Day 2025 is just around the corner, and there's this big theme: Unite for a malaria-free future.
That's right. A really important theme.
Yeah, and when you hear malaria, maybe it feels quite distant, like something happening far away.
Hmm.
But here's something to think about. Can what you do right where you are actually make a dent in such a huge global health issue?
That's the core question, isn't it? And it's a powerful one.
So that's what we want to dig into today.
Exactly. Because malaria, well, fundamentally, it's caused by these tiny parasites. Mosquito bites are how they spread.
Right, the mosquitoes are the key carriers.
Again, the impact is just huge. You've got fevers, severe chills, and tragically, it's still a major killer.
That stat is just shocking: a child dying almost every minute. Still, mostly in
But
Africa.
it really underscores the urgency, yeah. It's something we can't ignore.
Definitely not. So our mission today really is to understand how we're fighting back and especially focus on the role of prevention. How do we stop it before it starts?
Prevention is key. Absolutely.
The resources you shared, they really seem to highlight these global efforts, but also maybe how individual actions fit in.
They do. They paint a picture of a multi-pronged approach. Okay, so let's start with the basics, understanding the enemy, so to speak.
The mosquito vector.
Precisely. The mosquito carries the parasite. I actually like thinking about the whole fight against malaria as like a global relay race.
A relay race. Huh. Okay, I like that analogy. Explain that a bit.
Well, it means it's not just one person or one group. Lots of different runners, each playing a part.
So who's in this race? Who are the runners?
You've got communities right there on the front lines. They're sharing knowledge, taking action themselves, super important.
Okay, the local level.
Then governments, stepping up health services, and crucially for our chat today, funding preventative stuff.
Right, the big picture, funding and infrastructure.
Scientists, of course, developing treatments, working on vaccines, always innovating.
And individuals. You mentioned them too, even people far away.
Yes, absolutely. Even people listening right now. We'll definitely get into how they contribute, particularly to the prevention side.
Okay, great. So it's this combined effort. Let's hone in on prevention then. If we want to stop malaria, stopping the transmission seems like priority number one. What are the main tools for that?
You've nailed it. Prevention is front and center. The sources point to several key strategies. Insecticide-treated nets, or ITNs, are a massive one.
Bed nets, basically.
Essentially, yeah. But they're clever. You sleep under them, so there's physical barrier stopping bites.
Makes sense.
But they're also treated with insecticide. So if a mosquito lands on the net, it can actually kill it. It's a simple idea, but incredibly effective.
Simple but powerful. I think the material mentioned an example, didn't it? Something from Southeast Asia.
Ah, yes. That story really hits home. It was a nurse, I believe, who saw firsthand this dramatic drop in malaria cases in her area.
Just from people using the nets.
Just from widespread, consistent use of these treated nets. It just shows how a relatively low-cost tool can have such a massive impact on prevention, especially protecting people while they sleep, which is when many malaria-carrying mosquitoes bite.
Wow. That really illustrates the power of simple prevention. But nets aren't the only thing, are they? What else is in the preventative arsenal?
No, definitely not the only tool. Another big one is indoor residual spraying, IRS.
Spraying inside homes.
Exactly. You apply a long-lasting insecticide to the inside walls. So mosquitoes that come inside to rest after feeding might land on the wall and, well, they get eliminated. It reduces the number of mosquitoes indoors.
So attacking them where they rest.
Precisely. And then there's education. We really can't overlook this. Teaching families about how malaria spreads, about using nets correctly, about seeking treatment. It's fundamental for prevention.
Empowering people with knowledge.
It's absolutely key for making prevention sustainable. Understanding mosquito behavior, knowing when you're most at risk, all that helps.
Okay, so it's nets, it's spraying, it's education, a package deal for prevention. Now, the sources also touched on other things, sort of the bigger picture, beyond just stopping the bite.
Right. While prevention is our main focus here, it fits into a broader strategy. So testing people quickly if they show symptoms and treating them effectively, that's vital too. Stops the illness getting severe, reduces the chance they pass it on.
Reduces the parasite pool.
Exactly. And then there are the vaccines, especially for kids in high-risk areas. This is a really exciting frontier for prevention, giving the body a way to fight the parasite directly.
Vaccines are a game changer for prevention, potentially.
Right.
But implementing all this preventive stuff, It can't be easy. There must be hurdles.
Oh, absolutely. Big challenges. Funding is a perennial issue, right? Having enough money to buy nets, run spraying programs consistently.
Yeah.
It's a constant struggle.
The money gap.
Then you have conflict zones. Delivering nets or spraying homes becomes incredibly difficult, sometimes impossible when there's instability.
Disrupts everything.
Weather patterns, too. Climate change can shift where mosquitoes live, make malaria seasons longer. You need adaptable prevention strategies.
So you have to keep adjusting.
And a really worrying one, insecticide resistance. Mosquitoes are evolving, becoming less affected by the insecticides we rely on for nets and spraying.
Uh-oh. So the tools become less effective.
Potentially, yes. It means we constantly need new insecticides, new approaches, maybe combining different prevention methods. Innovation in prevention has to keep pace.
That really underscores the need to be dynamic. Okay, so let's talk about that theme again. Unite for a malaria-free future. How does that unity look specifically for prevention work?
It looks like people making things happen on the ground. The material talked about local health workers. Picture them traveling to really remote villages to deliver mosquito nets.
That's direct proactive prevention.
Exactly. Reaching the hardest to reach. Or think about the rollout of malaria vaccines for children, like in Uganda. That takes huge coordination, manufacturing, cold chains, actually giving the shots. It's prevention for the next generation.
These aren't just abstract ideas, they're actions, systems delivering prevention.
Precisely. And the key thing for you, listening, to realize is that these acts, delivering a net, giving a vaccine, they seem small maybe, but they happen thousands, millions of times. They add up. That's the collective prevention effort.
So even if I'm, sitting here far from where malaria is most common, the sources suggest I can still contribute to this preventive push.
Absolutely. Your actions, even from afar, really can support prevention. One simple thing: spread the word.
Just talking about it.
Yeah, raising awareness. Keeping malaria and the importance of prevention on people's minds on the global agenda, it helps prioritize it.
Okay, awareness is step one.
Then support. Donating to reputable charities that focus on malaria. Even a small amount can buy a net or contribute to the cost of delivering it. That's direct support for a preventive tool.
That makes it very tangible, doesn't it? Knowing your contribution buys a net.
Exactly. You can also join in with World Malaria Day events, online campaigns, local activities maybe. It shows solidarity.
Strength in numbers.
An advocate. Encourage your leaders, your representatives, to keep malaria prevention high on the list for global health funding and policy. Political will matters.
Using your voice.
And finally, just stay informed. Follow organizations like the WHO. Learn about the successes and the challenges in prevention. Knowledge makes you a better advocate.
So awareness, support, advocacy, staying informed, all ways to boost prevention from anywhere. Okay, let's talk about the visual for World Malaria Day 2025. That image. What does it tell us about prevention?
The campaign image. It's quite packed with meaning and, yeah, very relevant to prevention. You've got that bright background suggesting hope, right? A healthier future.
Optimistic.
Then the globe held by diverse hands that screams global unity, tackling this together.
The unite part of the theme.
Exactly. And crucially for our focus, there are direct symbols of prevention. You see a crossed-out mosquito, clear message there.
Stop the vector.
And images of bed nets. Right there, showcasing a core preventive tool. Plus, there's usually a vaccine vial shown too, pointing to that growing area of prevention.
So the image itself is reinforcing that proactive, stop it before it starts message.
Totally. And the slogan, Unite for a Malaria-Free Future, it's an action statement. The awareness ribbon ties it all together, solidarity and saving lives, often through preventive action. Sharing the image is encouraged. It helps spread that message of hope and proactive intervention.
It really drives home that prevention is central. So, looking forward, what's the prognosis? Are we winning the prevention battle? The sources mentioned progress has slowed a bit.
Yeah, that's a critical point. Progress has sort of plateaued recently, and millions are still at risk. So the need for strong, sustained prevention programs is as urgent as ever. We can't let up.
But there are positive signs, too.
Definitely. Innovation is continuing, especially with vaccines, new types, better deployment. That's huge for future prevention.
More tools in the toolbox.
And there's a real push to empower communities more, giving them the knowledge and resources to lead preventive actions locally. That builds resilience.
Sustainable prevention.
Plus, countries are collaborating more, sharing data, sharing what works best in terms of prevention strategies, learning from each other.
It sounds like that analogy the source used about learning to ride a bike.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's tough at first, right? You might wobble, even fall. But with support, with determination, And using the right techniques, which in our case means effective, sustained prevention, you get there. A malaria-free world is achievable.
It's a hopeful analogy. So, as World Malaria Day 2025 approaches with this theme, Unite for a Malaria-Free Future, it feels like the message is crystal clear. Prevention isn't just helpful, it's absolutely fundamental.
Couldn't agree more. The evidence is overwhelming for things like nets and spraying. Education underpins it all, and vaccines are adding a powerful new dimension to prevention. It's the core strategy.
And for you listening, remember, your contribution, whatever it looks like, however small it might feel, it genuinely adds to that global preventive shield.
Which brings us to a final thought to leave you with. Just imagine for a moment, what if global focus, global resources really doubled down even more intensely on proactive prevention? What tipping points could we reach then? How many millions, how many future generations could be completely spared from this disease that's plagued humanity for so long?
That's a powerful question.
Maybe take some time to explore the organizations working tirelessly on malaria prevention, see how they operate, and think about how you might become part of uniting for that malaria-free future.